Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the conversation series.
Because creators are businesses.
What we do is not simple.
Give, the fans everything that they deserve.
Being creative
is like doing a 5,000 piece puzzle.
Is something that you can learn and do over and over again.
Always be as authentic as I can be.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the conversation series. I am thrilled today to have Miss Liz Rodriguez here with me. She is a women's health coach. She has an incredible story. I'm excited to jump into this with her and pick her mind. Liz, thank you so much for joining me today.
Yeah, thanks so much for having me.
I want to get into your coaching is about empowering women's health. You have had a story, probably like many have had around health, where you're trying all these different things, you're eating all the healthy foods and all of this stuff, and sometimes for some people it's just not working.
Yeah.
Why go and create this coach? What's been the story behind all of this?
Yeah, I mean, I'll do the Reader's Digest version. I feel like sometimes we start saying different terms and people are like, I don't know what that is. So for those of you out there, right? Reader's Digest. Small publication that we all used to all the time because our parents all subscribed to them. Anyways, gotta love the joke section that was in though. That was like one of my favorite
It was
parts.
very good. It was very good. Yeah.
But my journey goes way back. I have been in fitness now. I'm going to celebrate 20 years in May. And so, I was a former athlete and stuff. I'm going to come at it at a different angle. I think that some people are maybe not expecting is since I was an athlete, I really was one of those people that I never was on a diet. I never thought about any of those things really until I was like in my mid 30s. And then all of a sudden, that's when I started having a lot of issues with my back. It's a long story, but it took about 5 years until I had to have back surgery. But I really never even thought about like nutrition until my mid 30s. And really, what was starting to happen was I was actually suffering from a ton of chronic pain. My workouts were getting smaller and smaller and shorter and more disjointed. We had moved to New York and I was like starting at different jobs. And essentially, long story short, it was like, wow, Liz has to start like working on her nutrition. Like, I just didn't feel good. I wasn't moving well. I wasn't sleeping. I was very high stress because of my job. And it was like, I don't even want to say things weren't working anymore. It was literally just like, what am I supposed to be doing right now? Like, I think I'm supposed to be doing more of what I'm doing with my clients kind of thing. So that's really when I started to take a step back and really dive more into nutrition and like longevity nutrition of what's like the diet that everyone should be on in terms of protein sources and fiber and fat and like all that stuff. And really where we went from there was I started feeling really good. And then I went through more changes and I went through surgery and really kind of fast forward to now. I think what I really realized big picture was I was forced to change a lot of my nutrition and my fitness because of my surgery.
Yeah.
But I was also really still hitting it hard with like my career and being a solopreneur. And that's really where the health coaching opened it up to your health and wellness is actually, it's going to filter into all parts of your life, right? And that's kind of where we're at today, where I teach something called the strength and longevity method with my clients. And it's about, we start with rewiring your brain of maybe we got to kind of throw out some of those old mindsets, going through of strength and nutrition and recovery, and then really redefining what health and wellness and fitness means to that person, to that woman.
I want to get into part of what you had said in your introduction to all this is like you've been a solopreneur. You had a hit in your career hard. Have you always been a solopreneur?
No, but I've always been working on commission. So it makes you look at your day to day a little bit differently. And I got into management very early. So I guess you could say I was in a position with the jobs that I was in where you need to show progress or you're getting booted or you're not making any money.
Yeah.
So
what made you go into all of this? Like entrepreneurship, did you get a firsthand course of like, okay, this is what entrepreneurship is. This is what it's like.
So I grew up in a family business, actually. My parents
Yeah.
ran a commercial landscaping business. So they were like doing like big communities in terms of like lawn care and recreation. So like building playgrounds and all kinds of stuff. So I really saw, I think I was instilled at a very young age of you need to put something in to get something out of it. And I think that as fast forward to college, and majoring in exercise science, it was like I knew I wanted to help people. I think a
Yeah.
lot of people say that, but I think really where it came from me was um, I think I wanted people to feel empowered to, figure out like I think fitness can be this weird thing of like, oh, I'm not a fitness person.
Yeah.
And I want everyone to feel like they can be. And then I think in terms of finally I became a solopreneur as of 2016. And it was I always talk about one of my friends that was saying, I don't know how you managed to stay in commercial for so long, commercial fitness, because you listen but you don't drink the Kool-Aid. Like I kind of always wanted to do things my own way, and that comes from my dad and
Yeah.
running a business. So yeah, that's a little bit about me and kind of being a
Okay.
solopreneur.
I love that. So you got a firsthand knowledge, firsthand growing up that you got it right to you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you learn a lot. And I worked in the business too. So it
Oh
was it
yeah.
was a huge learning
Yeah,
experience.
you got the practice right at an early age. I want to ask about your health coaching philosophy. I was reading what you've got based. How did you come to this philosophy and just really narrow down like, hey, this is what I preach by, this is what I live by, this is what I teach my clients.
I mean, it's 20 years in the making. And I think what I mean by that is, so I started my career and I trained for about 18 months before I got into management. So really, my whole career has been training and coaching people, but then training and coaching employees, trainers and
Yeah.
Pilates instructors and stuff. So I really started to create a philosophy with them where, and it was really the same. I would tell my clients and my employees, you need to be driven, you need to have passion, and you need to
Yeah.
be committed. And now I think really what the health coaching did was just give me better tools where I still, when I sit with someone, I want them to be committed to what they want to do.
Yep.
I want them to have passion for it. Like I want them to be passionate about empowering themselves and feeling good about themselves. And I want them to have a little bit of a drive because, changing is hard.
Yeah.
And I think also, instilling in them that like you can trust in the information that I'm going to be giving you, but you also have to trust in the process because coaching is different than training. As a trainer, Danielle, you're my client. We're going to go do this
Yeah.
because we need to do this. Coaching is, hey, Danielle, what is it that you feel like you need to work on? And let's create the space and opportunity for
Yeah.
you to get there. And that's very different,
Very
you know?
different. Very different. I think a lot of people have different, it's hard because a lot of people come in with different egos around fitness as well. So having to
Mhm.
work with people and just in terms of like, hey, if I'm going to be your coach, the ego needs to be left at the door a little bit. And sometimes that's very, very hard for people to actually sit down and not let that block them.
Yeah, I think especially for women, I think women of late 30s, early 40s, the older millennials, shout out, we're in an interesting time, aren't we? We were sort of fed like you can be anything.
Yep.
And especially as women, like you want to have kids, you want to have a career, you want to do this, you can have it all, but then you got to figure out how to do it. And I think really the empowerment comes from actually taking a step back to say, Danielle, I want you to make time for yourself. I
Yep.
want you to actually put yourself first. And I think that's actually the ego is it is funny, it is the ego, but I think it's more of a protector of, well, I have all these things going on and I got to take care of these people and I have this career and it's like, yeah, but sort of like the airplane analogy, you got to put your mask on first.
Yes.
You got to put your oxygen mask on first before everyone else. Otherwise, you're not going to have the energy to help them, right?
Absolutely. When you went down this path of in 2016, creating your own business and doing this coaching by yourself, entering this entrepreneurship space, like what were some of the biggest challenge you kind of took on in terms of was it you were the only person, so you have to figure out all these different areas, building a website? Like what was it for you?
Yeah, and I went through a couple of different chapters. You know, when I went on my own in 2016, I was still living in Chicago. So I was in my backyard. And so in terms of that, that was a little bit different. So when I first started out, really the first person I called was my financial advisor and it was like, so what do I do? And he really helped me to kind of lay out the basics of like, you got to get an LLC set up, you got to get your insurance and things like that. And then fast forward to when I left commercial fitness, I went through my health coaching back in 2020 when I was on furlough in New York because I was working at Lifetime and it was like, what do
Yeah.
we got 6 months off?
Yeah.
And so really when I left permanently and now it's been really about almost 5 years on my own, I feel like that's really when the work started because I started it from a completely virtual standpoint. So I'm going to talk to those solopreneurs out there that are only virtual and it's hard, excuse me, because you're in your own head all day. So for me, one of the hardest parts, you can tell me, and I mean, I'm on a screen, but like I'm
Yeah.
dynamic, I'm
Yeah.
type A. Like
Yeah.
I worked in gyms, like I want to be around people.
Yeah.
And so the silo of being by yourself and learning more about the internet and like what to post and like what's going to resonate with people. I think that was probably one of the hardest things. And then figuring out you have to learn enough to know like what is it that I need help with. So for instance, I relaunched that site. That site that you see is it's less than a year old because I wanted to revamp everything with health coaching focus. I had a web designer and I had an SEO person. You know why? Because I can't design a website and I don't know anything about search engine optimization. So
Yeah.
those were my two people that I went to. So you have to figure out, you have to put enough effort into it to say, who is it that I need in this process? You know?
Yep. It's incredibly hard, and I think the funny thing is that when people go into this entrepreneur, solopreneur world, they're like, I need help because I didn't realize that when you're at a business or at a corporation, you're in your own little sector of the company, but when you get out into your own, people are like, I got to figure out how to build a website. I have to figure out how to, if you have employees, I have to figure out how to invoice or pay employees and
Mhm.
all these things. It gets tricky that some people just don't realize the kind of depths you're walking into having to be sometimes the only person doing all of these things.
Yeah, and you throw in that I was a former athlete that ran 8,500 miles in college. Like I am very competitive. And I would say the last thing that's very difficult that I think everyone needs to figure out is actually my business coach was joking with me the other day about this is the better that you are with your craft, probably the worse you're going to be with your marketing. And when you're so far in, right, like of what I know with fitness and wellness and everything, and then putting that into like marketing is very tricky.
Yeah, it is. It is very tricky. I've had the experience where people at all levels, when you think about it like sales, product, marketing, people are like come in and think they know how to market without
Yeah.
any experience. And I'm like, no, please let
No.
please, like, if you're gonna market, like, it's one of those things as well. Like, leave the ego at the door because you're most likely gonna be wrong until you actually learn from people. Because as a marketer, a lot of people come in, and especially in social media where I am, people are like, "Well, I can do social media. Everybody can do social media." I'm like, "But can you do it for the purpose that you're coming in?" And you're doing it in this role, and a lot of people don't know how to. Like, marketing is a beast,
Yes.
is a beast.
It's a beast, and I think, you know, with the ego part of it too, I'm so passionate about what I do, and I am in an industry of a lot of idiots. So I'm very passionate about like I want to rise above a lot of the
Yeah,
bullshit, especially for women and wellness and how we are marketed towards and what people tell us is infuriating. And so it's a passion of mine of I want to put out more good content so
yeah,
that they feel like, oh, okay, this makes sense.
yeah, 100%. What
Yeah.
is a common misconception that maybe somebody's coming up to you as an entrepreneur and saying, this is what I think entrepreneurship is, but you're like, "Nope, that's a misconception we've got about."
Oh yeah, like you get to make your own hours and you
Yeah,
can work whenever you want to work. And you do, but I think so I'm going to use the example because and I won't use like any names and stuff,
yeah,
but I have people that I know that wanted to start a business and I think the biggest thing is you have to be and I know you're like this. You have to be thinking about it all the time, right?
all the time.
But then you have to like know how to detach from it.
Yeah.
And I don't know how you teach people how to do that. Like you have to think like, okay, so what am I doing today that's going to affect tomorrow, next week, next month? And then you're going to do things that don't work. And, we like to think of those as not failures, but learning lessons. And
Yeah.
then the next day get up and say, I get to do it all over again.
Yeah. And have a smile on your face and not feel like you're being defeated around every corner if things don't go right or whatever it may be. It is
hmm
very hard because it is, everybody's like work-life balance, like you work all the time. Like I do, but I love this so much
Yeah.
that I can't let it go. Like I feel
Mhm.
like let it go is the wrong thing to say, but I can't stop
Yeah.
because I have this vision and I have this plan of where I want this to go.
It's like I asked someone one day that one of the people that I knew that was trying to start something, and it's like if you won the lottery tomorrow, and let's say you won like $1 million,
Yeah,
okay? And you're taking all of it, so you got some taxes in there, but you got a couple hundred grand, right?
yeah,
What would you do? And for me, I'm like, okay, great. I would be doing the same thing, but I mean, now I'd have a little bit more. I could spend more on ads, and like I could update this, and I could do this, and I could hire someone else for this, but I would literally be doing the same thing because it's what I want to do. And I think that that's very unique to entrepreneurs. And I think what's amazing about that is there's so many people that are doing stuff that is just sucking the life out of them. And at least like we've figured out our path. And it doesn't need to be like I tell it because it is something I work on with clients too. Even though we're working on the fitness, it's like, what do you want with your life? And even if it's like, hey, I like my job. It's good, but you know what? It sets me up to do where I can travel, where I can spend
yeah,
time with my family, where I can do this. And it's like there's no perfect scenario. Not everyone's going to be an entrepreneur, but it's a matter of saying, how do we create a scenario that is going to put you in a place that you're thriving?
yeah.
Because again, remember, health and wellness is going to go into all those different areas of your life. So we got to talk about those other areas, you know?
Has there been a client you've worked with? You don't have to say names or anything like that, identify anybody, but has there been a client through this time that you've been doing this coaching that has made a real impact on you, or is just something that you remember through this time?
Yeah, yeah, so many. But like I think one is that you I don't work with a ton of people with kids, probably because I don't have kids. And
Yeah,
I do recommend like if you got kids, like me and my 42, my friends that got kids, I'm like, I
yeah,
don't know what goes on in your life. But I had a client that had two teenagers, and I think what was really cool, we worked together for about 6 months, is how much that what we were doing was directly affecting the kids as well in terms of what she was working on with her health and how she was making time in different ways and was getting those kids to cook I think how much effect that you can have on an entire family and that changes their whole dynamic and what's important to them.
yeah,
I think that's really amazing. That definitely has stuck with me. I don't think I thought about that part of it.
yeah.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
What has surprised you the most about being a solopreneur and entrepreneur?
I think that sometimes I'm far enough along now that now I'm really starting to learn how to reel things back in. I think you get to a point too of just like I tell my clients, like work smarter, not harder.
Yeah,
Figure out a way that you can make more out of what you have
yeah,
and take a step back because if you're constantly trying to go at the same speed all the time and here's the great thing about being a solopreneur, no one's going to pay your vacation, no one's going to tell you to take time off, so you have to make that time, you have to put in
yeah.
your breaks. So that's been a big learning experience.
I love that.
Yeah.
What's in your mind right now? What's next? What do you want to do next with the coaching? Is there any sort of ideas you've got cooking up or things that you want to go do in the next several years?
Oh yeah. Yeah, I think one, really I feel like right now, and this is a lot of solopreneurs, especially because of what I do and who I'm marketing,
Yeah.
is really starting to kind of narrow down that niche, and really speak to a specific person. And then as I work more specifically kind of with, I really want to get more involved with former athletes because I
Okay.
think it's a trickier market. I mean, there's plenty, everyone needs health coaching. I need health coaching. I have a health coach that I work with. But I think that I want to get more into the former athlete area. And then
Yeah.
really my end goal is when I left commercial fitness, really for the last time, it was like I want to reach more people. And in order to do that, right, you have to learn how to scale. And right
Yeah.
now, my everything has always been on one-on-one. You learn a lot and it's great, but then again, it's
Yeah.
1 hour for 1 hour.
Yeah.
So my next step is creating more courses and even maybe a membership where there's more like smaller bites where you go to the site and you're like, oh, cool, I can buy the bundle or I can just get the core and mobility
Yeah.
module or I can get the refuel module kind of thing where there's more opportunities to reach more people.
Yeah.
And then, I think having my own podcast, I would love to do that. There's so many. So right now I'm
Yes.
taking advantage of all of you guys out there that are running amazing podcasts.
I love it.
Because you got to support. It's important to, I mean, and then if I'm going out on a limb again, it's something that we started with my company in Chicago. We were doing kind of like a woman in wellness thing.
Mm.
I would love to have like a mentorship program for female entrepreneurs because I don't know, like it's really funny. You're going to laugh when I say this. The majority of my career, probably 80% of my clients have actually been men, like over
Yeah.
50.
Yeah.
And it's only been since I switched to health coaching that in the last several years, I've really only been training women
Yeah.
and I love it. Like it was weird because at first I was like, I don't have anything in common.
Yeah.
And now I'm like, I have a lot in common with you
Yeah.
guys. So I really would love to, whatever I can do to help more female entrepreneurs, you
Yeah.
know?
Love that. Liz, I can't thank you enough for sitting down with me today and letting me dig into your world. I so appreciate it.
Thanks again for having me. This was super fun.
Yeah, I so appreciate it, guys. I'm going to have all of Liz's socials down below. Please go give her a follow. Stay up to date with everything that she's doing. And as always, I will see you guys back here next time. Bye.
Awesome. Thanks.